Hello everybody and welcome back to Cask and Point. Today we're trying a brand new release from the Jack Daniel's distillery. This is the Heritage Barrel 2025. So this is bottled at 100 proof, which is pretty interesting. It means that it's a good bit more approachable for a lot of folks than I think we see out of a lot of Jack Daniel's products. I mean, we've seen a lot of Jack Daniel's products in the 120s, the 130s, and the 140s. And so seeing something at 100 proof is definitely a little bit of a change of pace here. And its barrel entry proof is actually also 100. So while we do typically see a barrel entry proof at 125, and so as it ages and water evaporates, the proof usually goes up a little, it might actually go down a little. That's how we see a lot of cask strength whiskeys in the 120s, 130s, and rarely even the 140s. But the fact that the barrel entry proof on this one was 100 means that actually at cask strength this might not be much more than 100. It might be like 105, 110. Obviously none are going to be lower than 100 because this is a single barrel product, so everything obviously has to be at least 100 proof. But that's really interesting there. They're all going to be 100, and while we don't have an age statement on it, we do have the bottle date and the barrel date. And so everybody notices that it's July 2017 to July 2025. So we're looking at exactly an 8-year product here. I know when they initially announced this back in February, a lot of people thought that this might end up being a 7-year product because it started in July 2017, but I guess they waited just for it to turn 8 years old, and then that's where they were releasing it. And so this is meant to be a shelfer product. This is meant to be something that I think is supposed to compete with things like Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. And we've seen a lot of popularity on these toasted barrels, on these double oaks, all these things in the last few years. So it's not surprising that Jack Daniel's wants to get in on that fun. And it's nice to see a shelfer that's meant to be a little bit higher quality, that isn't super premium, and it's $70. We should see this on the shelf pretty regularly. That's a pretty approachable bottle, I think, for at least a good number of folks, which is nice. So today we're going to find out if it's actually any good, if it's something that should interest a lot of folks, or if it's something that should really stay as maybe more of a warm-up pour or something like that. We're going to find out. I'm really curious to see how this one is. I really like toasted barrels. I really like the Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. I really like Peerless Double Oaked. I really like a lot of double oaked whiskeys and toasted barrels and all these fun stuff like that. So if I have to pick any sort of quote-unquote finish in my whiskey, I always go with the toasted or double oak or something like that, where you just get these extra toasty, marshmallowy kinds of flavors on it. Really interested to see what we're going to get out of Jack Daniel's here today. So let's get right into it and find out. On the nose, there's definitely a little bit of that banana that I get off of Jack Daniel's. That's actually really nice, more of like a banana Foster on it. Definitely some creaminess on this, a ton of caramel jumping out. And you know what? You do get a little bit of that marshmallow, which is really nice. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a nice barrel char to this, definitely reminiscent of a nice toasted barrel. Well, on the nose, there's actually a lot of potential on this one, and it's actually, there's some heat on it. It's actually smelling over 100 proof. Like I said, this is 8 years old, $70. We should find this on the shelf everywhere soon enough. This is not a bottle that I think people should be running out and spending $200 or $250 on the secondary market, all right? Give it a few days, give it a few weeks. If you're in certain areas, give it a few months. I do suspect that they are really producing a ton of this one. They really want this one to be a solid shelfer that's constantly available on the market. So yeah, don't go too crazy. Definitely, it's good to be patient with this stuff, but, we have to see if it's worth you in buying first. Off the nose, though, I think it's definitely going to be worth it. Let's take a sip. You know what? That's pretty good. It's obviously not going to compete with Jack Daniel's 14-year, okay? So if you came to this video seeing if their new Jack Daniel's product is like the whiskey of the year, it's not, okay? This is definitely not one that's going to end up on a lot of the top lists or anything. But you know what? For a nice toasted barrel finish with some Jack Daniel's goodness in it, that is solid. It comes up with a lot of that marshmallow in the front and mid palate here. Towards the end, you start getting more into that banana, a little bit like charcoaliness that I really get on a lot of Jack Daniel's products. So you kind of have that typical Jack Daniel banana charcoal on it while also getting your nice toasted barrel notes on it. I think this is exactly what you should expect it to be. I think it's a very solid $70, 8-year, 100 proof. I mean, this is solid. Like this is good stuff right here. Yeah, now this is a whiskey that I think a lot of people are going to be happy with this one. Now, I will be honest, so I actually cracked this bottle yesterday. And when I cracked it yesterday, off the neck, it wasn't as good, but I think after having a day to really get some air on it, and I've also left it in the glass here for about 40 minutes, it's really opened up a lot. So if you're not a huge fan of this one, I think it is one that might get a little bit better with some air on it. So definitely don't throw it out immediately. But that's why neck pours, I'm a big believer of neck pours. I think whiskeys can really change pretty drastically after that first pour once they get some air back on them. And so never judge a bottle entirely based off the first pour. But no, this pour is pretty solid here. Let's take a second sip. Yeah, I mean, the mouthfeel isn't going to be super viscous or anything. It is not bad, though. It's not super thin or anything. And then on the palate there, honestly, drinking a little bit higher than 100 proof, I think you really do get that marshmallow on it, that charcoal on it. You're definitely getting a little bit of tannic wood in there as well, which some people might not absolutely love. But again, I'm viewing this as this is a $70 bottle. And I'm going to go ahead and say right now, I think it's definitely worth it. It's definitely one that I don't think I'd pay more for it. I mean, we're going to keep sitting this a little bit longer, see if it gets any better. But as of right now, I'm thinking worth 70 bucks, not worth anything more than that. But this is interesting. I mean, this is definitely not a bad release. And look, I'm all for really nice shelfer whiskeys. I mean, we have the whole bottle here. I actually ordered this from a site called Served Neat, and I pre-bought it like 2 or 3 months ago, and it cost me 100 bucks plus shipping, so I guess not the worst thing in the world. I definitely overpaid slightly for it, but I don't mind. I'm glad to try it here with you guys and let you guys know if you guys should be going out and buy it. But yeah, that's how I got a bottle so quickly, because Connecticut, I'll be honest, probably not going to get this bottle for at least a few weeks. We typically are not super ahead on allocations. Definitely makes running a YouTube channel a little bit difficult sometimes, but that's okay. No, this is nice. Let's take another sip. Yeah, I'm not developing a ton. I'm getting a little bit of butterscotch on it as well. I'm getting like that nice burnt marshmallow that I really enjoy a lot of toasted barrels. And then a little bit of banana cream, a little bit of charcoal on it. Boom, you're good. That like barrel charcoal kind of stuff on it. That is a nice pour of whiskey. Not super complex, all right? There isn't some crazy depth on it. The finish is actually longer than you may think it is. It's probably more of a medium length finish. And you do have a little bit of that sweetness really coming through. That burnt marshmallow really just stays throughout the palate into the finish. And that's nice. I mean, that's not amazing. It's not the best whiskey we've tried on the channel this year or anything. This isn't going to be in my top 10 whiskeys of 2025. But I think for easy shelfers that are hopefully going to be very available on the market, I think this is very solid here. I think this is honestly like that old Fitz 7 level where we're seeing a legacy distillery put out a bottle for like 60, 70 bucks that everybody's supposed to find that it should be pretty solid. I think this is definitely a hitter right here. Now, I wouldn't pay more than $70 for it. But I do think if you are ever drinking the 94 proof Jack Daniels, the Tennessee whiskey, or the rye, I think this is an incredible step up on those two. I think honestly, this is probably my favorite Jack Daniels product right now outside of the limited releases and the barrel strengths, which I guess removes a lot of the really nice Jack Daniels products. But honestly, this is really, really nice here. Like for your shelfer Jack Daniels, I think, you know, I still think that Tennessee whiskey, that's 60 bucks, that's 130 proof is amazing. If you're willing to drink something that high proof, I think the barrel proof rye is just absolutely delectable, an absolute killer pour. I think those two, honestly, better bangs for your buck since they're gonna have the same MSRP as this, and I do think that those are better products overall. But I think if you want a more relaxing, toasted barrel, much more approachable, something that you could actually share with folks, something that, you know, can really warm you up for the day to go drink a bunch of like hazmat Jack Daniels Coy Hill, like this is definitely a hitter for here. Let's take this final sip here, let's give it a rating. Yeah, so I'm really searching for more notes on this. I'm not getting a lot of them. I think there's definitely going to be that burnt marshmallow. I think there is a good, strong caramel on it in the front palate, actually. I do think you almost get a little bit of citrus on it, but not a ton of citrus on it. But I think that that's what you're looking at here. I think you have a front palate, mid, late palate. They're all going to have that burnt marshmallow on it. You have a real strong caramel. That kind of dissipates over time. You have the barrel charcoal kind of note on it that's really reminiscent of Jack Daniels. You have a little bit of banana in there, not a ton. I think over time that banana is probably going to get a bit stronger, which is also really pleasant. Solid pour of whiskey. Nothing that blows me away, but it's solid. I'm going to go ahead and rate that a 7.3. I think for 70 bucks here, you can't go wrong. I really wouldn't pay a dime more than that, but I think it's something that's good enough that's worth a place on a lot of people's shelves. So if you see this for MSRP, I think this is a buy. Do not overpay for it. I probably wouldn't buy a backup of this until it's probably entirely gone, and then maybe if you're really loving it, go buy another bottle. But don't stock up on this. Don't buy 20 bottles of this. Don't think this is the most amazing thing ever, but it's solid. I'm happy with it. But anyways, with that, I hope you all enjoy the review. Go out and buy some Jack Daniels Heritage if you can find one. Let me know if any of you guys have had this release already, and if so, what you guys think down below in the comments. With that, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.